Hello and welcome back to the Critically Clueless. I'm the Monk, and today we are doing another character build. This is for the Claric. This guy is very iconic in the Pathfinder games and in most of these types of games. There is a version of the Claric in most of these hardcore RPGs, and the majority of you are going to be running one of these in your party, be it one of your companions or none other than your main character himself as a cleric. So I'm going to be walking you through a beginner's guide, an easy kind of build. These guys are actually kind of complicated. The idea of them, though, really is that they do some nice buffs, they do some healing, and of course they can be really good fighters as well. Now, we're not just doing any ordinary cleric. No. We are going to be doing a crusader. Now, all of these classes actually have really interesting builds. A cleric is one of the most fun builds in a game, if you ask me, because they have so much to them. So this is just going to be talking about the crusader subclass. And don't forget, if you enjoy these videos and want to see more build guide videos just like these, don't forget to hit that like button and of course subscribe to the channel that way you don't miss out on the very next episode that drops as well. Now, the Crusader is a more militant cleric, and you do actually get a little bit more leeway when it comes to a Crusader and how you actually go about setting this character up. So keep that in mind. This is only a guide, guys. You can definitely have a bit more fun and a little bit more leeway when it comes to the Crusader. Everything isn't so much set in stone, but a few decent options for when it comes to race class is always going to be human, possibly the best choice out there. Now, picking human will get you the +2 bonus to ability and an extra feat and a skill point every level, so it's definitely a very good boost for a cleric build. The Dwarf would also be another decent build with the +2 in Constitution and +2 in Wisdom. While the Azimir is possibly the most logical choice, especially if you take the angelic myth path later on in the game. This race also has many buffs when it comes to the background, which will aid in the Constitution, Strength, and Wisdom, which would be good for almost any cleric build in general. But for the sake of this build, we're going to be going as the human, still an extremely good option. Now, when it comes to backgrounds, there are many decent options here. Most notably Scholar. I would pick any one of those 3 options there. But for this one, we're going to go Noble and we're going to go for Emissary. What I like about this is that it adds Persuasion and Knowledge World to the list of class skills. And it also becomes proficient in rapiers and bucklers. Now, in a lot of the cleric builds, strength isn't going to be a stat that we necessarily need to focus on. However, for our Crusader build, we're actually going to take this up to 15. I would like to settle on 16, but at the moment I don't quite have enough points. Remember, we are going to be a melee class, or a melee and buff class. Now, a little bit of dexterity would be nice, but for our class and what we're doing at the moment, we don't quite have enough points to put extra points into dexterity, so we're going to leave that as 10. Constitution, of course, is something we're going to be needing, especially as we're going to be close to that front line, so we're going to put that on 15, looking around it up to 16. And when it comes to intelligence, intelligence normally isn't a stat that we necessarily need to focus on when it comes to a cleric. However, wisdom is something we need to take to 20 as and when we can. For now, we're going to leave that at 16. And charisma really is the last stat we need to be putting points into. I would take points out of it, but that's going to be for persuasion. On to skills, and follow the green. The game's very good at telling you what you should pick. Arcane knowledge, world knowledge, and persuasion are all very good choices. Now, if you followed my build so far, you should be able to pick 2 feats right now. armor proficiency heavy armor is something you can actually get a little bit later, which isn't a bad option. Spell focus is obviously an absolute, but if you have a look through the list, there's definitely a few different options you can get away with picking. However, I personally would go for spell focus. Within spell focus, you've got a couple of really good options as well. Divination is one and enchantment is the other, and the two in which I would go for. You will also get the option to have greater spell focus, which you could do. However, I would probably get that when I level up. Next up, we have the Deities. Now, these actually come with a few different consequences when it comes to the clerics. So think wisely, have a little look-see at, where you want to go when it comes to your alignment and how you're going to be wanting to play. If you're going to be playing on the good side, as an angelic kind of crusader, plan accordingly. I like to kind of match up the weapon that I'm going to get, but there really aren't too many wrong choices here. Just have a little think and about what you're actually going to get, plan it forward, in other words. Next up, you can choose your channeled energies, and that's very true. You can actually choose channel negative energies, having you done a few different things, meaning you can heal the undead. So for anyone kind of playing with a Dampier in their team, this would be a very good way for how you're going to be able to heal them. Next up, we have domain pick. You got to choose your deity and your domain. And this is where you realize just how broad the cleric build really is. What we have left is a few really good options. Honestly, you're not going to be bored with any of these options at all. Personally, I like the glory domain. I just think it's a bit of fun. But like I said, guys, the cleric has so many different types of builds, so many fun different types of build. I'm probably going to do a couple more of them. This is just my Crusader build, my light Crusader build at that. So for this, we're going to go for the glory domain. And then, of course, we are on to the Crusader bonus feat. Now, the game does really, really well at telling you what you should probably pick. Here it's saying we should probably pick weapon focus, and absolutely, if you've got a good idea in mind of what weapons you want your cleric to be running with, absolutely do that, because the advantages in the +1, dice rolls are very, very good. However, here I'm going to be taking on shield focus. I think it has some really good possibilities going into that further, and it's just something that I really like. If I want to pick up weapon focus a bit later, of course I can do so. But guys, that is my Crusader build. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this build, where you think I went wrong, where you think I could improve, or just, your general thoughts on this build. If anyone manages to drop a ton of information, because I know there is a ton of information with this game, I will pin that comment and share the information for anyone else watching. And don't forget, we do actually have that active Discord as well. So if you want to jump in, have a chat about Pathfinder, maybe even recommend a build video, the link for that will be down in the description, along with a link for my recently finished novel, Seven Broken and Bound. That is a sci-fi dystopian, absolutely brilliant read, even if I do say so myself, and it's currently available for pre-order on Amazon, and that link as well is down in the description too. But guys, I think that just about wraps up this video. Thank you for watching. If you have watched to the very end, honestly, I do appreciate it. These builds are a lot. There's so much information that goes into it. These are just beginner guide videos. I do plan on doing late game builds too, but I figured we'll start at the beginning where a lot of console players probably are. And so hopefully they have been some help to you guys. Anyway, I've been a monk, we've been Critically Clueless, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy, and of course, as ever, happy gaming.